Does a CV need to include referees? This is one of the questions that most candidates at the job application process find themselves battling with when they are preparing their CV for that job. And in this video today, we are going to discuss on some of the best ways you can be able to include your referees in your CV and whether or not to include or not to include them. My name is Mary Amondo, and I am joined by one of our CV writing experts, Elizabeth, who will be expounding more on this subject. Thank you, Elizabeth, for joining me.
Thank you once again, Mary, for
Yes.
having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are looking at a CV as a document, and having written everything in the CV, the last part normally is on the references. And this is a question that most candidates struggle with, whether should I include or should I not include. So is it okay to include referees in the CV?
Okay, Mary, thank you for that question. So including references on a CV, it's not mandatory. However, it depends on the job specifications and the industry that you are targeting. And also in some cases, you'll find that the referees will be requested during the last stage of the hiring process. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Great. And when in instances where a candidate chooses to include the referees in the CV, what are some of the benefits of having them in the CV, and in what situations are we allowed, or is it advisable to have them in the CV?
Okay, Mary. So having references on your CV is very important because one, it gives you credibility, mm-hmm. and it strengthens your job application. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that the individuals that you have included as your references, they are able to vouch for your skills, your work ethics, your performance, and even your character traits, mm-hmm. which will give you an edge over, mm-hmm. other applicants. Mm-hmm. Then when you're supposed to include the references is when it's one of the specification, it's one of the requirements, mm-hmm. and also if it's one of the common practices, mm-hmm. in the industry that you are targeting. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So when I'm applying for a job, I need to really pay attention to the job description.
Exactly.
Because if it is highlighted as a key requirement, mm-hmm. and it's missing in my CV, it might sabotage my chances of being shortlisted for the interview.
Very true, Mary.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, you started by mentioning it is optional. You may opt to include or not to include them in the CV. So could there be any alternative methods that perhaps a candidate can opt for if they choose not to include the referees in the CV?
Yes, Mary. So first of all, a candidate can choose to have like a separate document, mm-hmm. where you list down the references with their contact information, their job titles, their emails, their professional relationship, and then you can also choose to avail them upon request, and, mm-hmm. this will show the employer that you are ready to provide the references upon request, mm-hmm. and when they are needed. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because sometimes the CV should not be very long, yeah, I believe.
True.
So if you feel that it's taking so many pages, you can have the reference on a separate document.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. So it is actually okay to indicate available upon request?
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Every day we learn something new.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with us.
You're welcome.
Indeed, getting to know, first of all, who is the right person to include in my CV as a referee in itself is a question that we battle with most of the time, and whether it is okay to include them in the CV or not. I believe you've been able to pick one or two insightful areas, as Elizabeth has mentioned, and if at all you find yourself still struggling with who is the right person to include in your CV as your referees, feel free to reach out to us, and the CV writing experts, Elizabeth included, will be able to reach out to you and advise accordingly. The link below will guide you on where and how you need to share your CVs with us just for advice. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.